Hello and welcome to Minerals, Rocks, and Fossil Talks. I'm your paleo teacher Jen, and it's time for Fossil Friday. Today, we will be discussing microfossils. Microfossils are fossils that are typically 1 millimeter in size or smaller and require a microscope to study. Hearing that, you might be wondering how on earth someone would even begin to know how to find fossils of that caliber. Well, first, they have to be absolutely crazy. Second, they have some interesting methods of retrieving such fossils. Microfossils are generally collected from rocks like limestone or shale, partially because a lot of them are marine, but not all of them. It's just the vast majority are. And they are extracted using techniques that involve washing, sieving, and sometimes using chemicals to break down the rock. Now, what kinds of things do you find as microfossils? Well, microfossils include things like foraminifera, or forams as we like to call them. These are single-celled protists with calcium carbonate shells. Radiolarians, which are also single-celled protists, but they have silica skeletons. And look how fancy they are. Ostracods, which are teeny tiny crustaceans that look kind of like bivalves. So that's fun. Diatoms, which are single-celled algae. Pollen, and I hope you know what pollen is. It's the stuff that makes a lot of people sneeze during the spring. Spores, also given off by plants and sometimes fungi. And conodonts, which are thought to be relatives of hagfish. These are the only hard parts that we've found of these guys, so that's fun. Look at how cool they look. Now I know someone's going to ask, no, I have never found any of these, but also I've never bothered to look. Micro really isn't my thing, but that doesn't mean they aren't useful. Obviously, I'm wearing like the opposite here. This is what I look for, the big, big stuff. I like that stuff. Maybe it's because I'm a tiny human being. I don't know. But I do understand the importance of them. For example, pollen can tell you a ton about the paleo environment without ever having to find the actual plant that released the pollen. So, say you get to a fossil site and you don't find any plants there, but you do find pollen, you can figure out from that pollen whether this was a seasonally wet and dry area. I apologize for the background noise. Apparently, the landscapers have decided they absolutely have to do whatever they're doing right now. And there's a ton of people who work from home here. Also, it's hot. It's hot. Why are you out working in the hot sun? Oh my goodness. Anyway, as I was saying, pollen, super important, can tell you about whether you have a rainforest environment, whether you have a swamp, whether you have a seasonally dry or wet area. So, things like that, super important. So thanks for coming to today's lesson, and make sure you tune in Monday to learn about how to collect fossils responsibly and not get arrested. Have a good weekend and fossilize you later.